Last week, I enjoyed Monday Night Raw. I gave you guys a positive review of the show. Breaking news, right? It was rare. I said, you're not going to believe this. But I actually, for the most part, enjoyed last week's Monday Night Raw. And I had a lot of positive things to say about the show. And I thought that maybe this week, because I knew I was going to go live, I was going to cover it, night 2 of the draft. I said, of all the weeks for me to actually cover Raw, which is rare, usually I save it for the Sunday show. But for all the weeks of me, not covering Raw, this is going to be a week where I go live. Maybe this will be the start of a new streak. Maybe there'll be 2 weeks in a row of enjoyable Monday Night Raws. Boy, was I fucking wrong. I don't know why I always do this to myself. I always give them the benefit of the doubt when I should not be doing that. But since I covered night 1 of the draft on Friday on Smackdown, I figured it was only appropriate for me to go live here on Monday. And frankly, now that I've done this, and here we are now over 3 hours later, all this really did was it served to remind me of exactly why I don't go live on Mondays. There's a very good reason why I don't do that, because I need to maintain my sanity. Because otherwise, I might just snap and go nuts. And then I won't be able to do any of my other shows. I need to have some shred of sanity that I maintain. I don't know, how people do this every week without taking a break or watching it in parts, which is what I've done for a while now. You kind of watch Monday Night Raw in bits and pieces over the course of a day, 2 days, 3 days. It's a little more palatable that way. But I stuck with it through tonight, and my God, this was a brutal show. It's very appropriate that we have somebody on the Monday Night Raw brand who comes out to a song called "This Is My Brutality." Very appropriate. That would be the perfect anthem for Monday Night Raw. This is my brutality. I can't think of a more perfect theme song for Monday Night Raw. Tonight was the second and final night of the WWE Draft from Nashville, Tennessee. Not a very lively crowd in Nashville. I can't even hold it against them, though. What did they really have to get excited about tonight? It certainly wasn't any kind of great match. There was no great in-ring action on this show tonight. Even that 1 or 2 big, nice match where they give it some time and everything. Usually on Raw, you get that one big main event or something. We didn't even get that. Everything up and down the card tonight for 3 hours was the same standard shit. Paint by number stuff. This match, a minute and 20 seconds. This match is 3 minutes. This match is 2 minutes. Who could possibly care about any of this? We didn't even have that. That was one of the hallmarks of Raw last week. At least there was some good in-ring action. We didn't even have that on this show. We had a few decent matches, and that was it. So what was there to really hold our interest for these 3 hours? It was the draft. They relied on the gimmick of the draft. As they do every year, the annual reshuffling of the deck chairs. And now that the draft is over, we see that Monday Night Raw kept most of its top names, with the exception of one, Drew McIntyre. And I guess maybe you can say Sheamus. But Drew McIntyre really was the only big name that Monday Night Raw lost on the men's side. And what they did, not only did they keep most of their key male talent, they took away most of the key male talent from SmackDown. So when you look at the rosters and you wonder, okay, who is the favored brand this year? Which is the brand that benefited the most? I mean, how could you say it's anything other than Monday Night Raw? They got to keep most of their big names, and look who they got. They got Seth Rollins. They got Edge. They got Finn Balor. They got Kevin Owens. And they had a few other ones. I wouldn't exactly put them at the very, top of the food chain. But they picked up a lot of key names, and all of them now are on the red brand, and they got to keep Big E. And they got to keep Bobby Lashley, and they got to keep Randy Orton, and they got to keep AJ Styles, and they got to keep Damian Priest. So I think Monday Night Raw comes out of this draft looking like a bed of roses. Clearly, Raw had somebody on the inside that was favoring them in this draft this year. I would give SmackDown the edge on the women's side and on the tag team side. I think the tag team division and the women's division is stronger now on the SmackDown side than it was a few weeks ago. So I would at least give SmackDown the edge on that front. But as a show, top to bottom, this draft show sucked. This was not a good show tonight. Hit that thumbs up. Do me that favor, because we're going to get into this entire show here. I sat through this show tonight for you. So all I ask in return, if nothing else, and I do see all the super chats, and I appreciate that, and I'm going to read each and every single one of them, but you can hit that thumbs up button. It will help this video out a great deal. I am going to read all of your super chats, as I said, and let me know what you think of the draft now that it's over. What do you think of all the key moves, or the moves even that were not made? Because there were people that went undrafted. And by the way, as I am speaking, I believe Raw Talk is live. I believe it airs live on the network, unless it airs the next morning. But I think it's airing right now. As I'm going along here, there may be more draft moves that are happening. So if I am able to look them up here by the end of this stream, I might be able to read them a little bit later on. But the draft is not totally over yet. There'll be some supplemental picks coming off the air. But let me know what you guys think so far of this draft. And if you have questions, anything like that, again, drop them in the super chats. I want to mention one thing here before we go on. That is the new 14-year anniversary Sound Off shirt. Next month is 14 years of this podcast. I can't believe it's been that long. And we'll be celebrating 14 years in the month of November. But the new shirt is up right now on ProWrestlingTees.com/Solomonster Sounds Off. It's the full title of the show. ProWrestlingTees.com is the place to go for the new shirt. And also, for those of you Sopranos buffs, I did a review, a non-wrestling video, some non-wrestling content here on the channel. Every now and then I'll bust out a movie review. And there is a movie review up for The Many Saints of Newark, which is the prequel movie to the Sopranos television series. So for those of you who may be interested in that, that is up on the channel as well. Be aware, it is filled with some spoilers. It was unavoidable. I wanted to just talk about all the things I wanted to talk about. And in order to do that, some spoilers were unavoidable. So just be aware of that. But anyway, so you got plenty of content. And there's more coming your way this week. But right now, let's focus on Monday Night Raw. There's a lot of content here to unwrap with this show here tonight. And do salute our great mods who are helping out as they do every week in the chat, including Uffman. I saw him a little while ago, so shout out to Uffman and all of the wrenches in the chat who are helping out here tonight. So tonight, the other half of the roster was eligible, including talents from the NXT brand. The changes don't go into effect until the night after Crown Jewel. So all of these changes that we're talking about as far as the WWE Draft is concerned, these aren't official. They don't go into effect until October 22nd. That's SmackDown that Friday. And talents that go undrafted become free agents and they can sign with the brand of their choice. So those are the rules. As if rules mean anything in WWE. I mean, it's comical, but let's pretend that rules actually matter. Those are the rules of the draft. So the show opened with the SmackDown Women's Champion Becky Lynch coming out to the ring for a promo, and she declared herself unofficially, the announcer said this was not official, but she declared herself unofficially the first pick of the night for Monday Night Raw. And shout out to The Void 99. The Void 99 just became a channel member just in time for the new Q&A that I am recording tomorrow. Q&A video for all of our channel members. So welcome to The Void. I felt like I got lost in the void tonight watching this show. 3 hours long. It felt like 84 years. Remember that woman from the Titanic movie? It's been 84 years or whatever that, however long it was. That's what I felt like watching this show tonight. So Becky Lynch says that she's the first pick for Monday Night Raw. And she talked about how she never actually lost her Raw Women's Championship, which she technically never did. She gave it up to Asuka. As far as Becky is concerned, she's been the Raw Women's Champion since WrestleMania 35. Actually, when did she win the Raw Women's title? Was it before that? She was Becky 2 belts after WrestleMania. Well, she might have been champion even before that. But in any event, she said, it's the title I never lost. Maybe it's time for me to be Becky 2 belts again. And that brought out the Raw Women's Champion, Charlotte Flair. Actually, what am I talking about? She had no belts. Going into WrestleMania, I completely forgot. She had no belts, right? Ronda was the champion, Charlotte was the champion, and anyway. So that brought out Charlotte Flair, who said that she and Becky have unfinished business. Out comes Bianca Belair. And Bianca talks about how she has beef with both of these women, and she says, I go here now, because she's on Raw now. I go here now. You don't go here. I go here now. Me. I go here now. Not you. So we got loud chants of Charlotte sucks. And Becky pointed out that, I'm defending my title at Crown Jewel in a few weeks. But you two have never had a match together before. So, I'm just saying. So she's planting the seeds, hoping that the two of them will end up in a match. And out comes Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville to make it official for the main event. Charlotte Flair will go one-on-one for the first time ever with Bianca Belair. They also announced the women's tag team title rematch with Rhea Ripley and Nikki Ash taking on Natty and Tamina. Oh joy, another rematch. And boy, all I could think of when I saw this, and I mean, we see this all the time, but I was just thinking to myself, it's a good thing that Becky came up with this idea for these two to have a match, or else what would they have done? They wouldn't have had a main event. It's one of those stupid wrestling things. You don't put any thought into it. It's just fucking lazy. I guess they went on the air tonight without a main event for this show. So, hey, thanks for Becky Lynch. Be the booker, right? We do our little be the booker thing at the end of these streams. Becky Lynch was being the booker tonight. She gave us that main event. And shout out to Mr. AJ Allday, who also just became a channel member here on YouTube. AJ Allday. All day and all night. I thought this segment sucked. I thought this segment was no good. Not one of these people came across as likable. And I understand that two of the people in this segment were supposed to be heels. But even Bianca, who, she played her part. She was okay. Nobody in this segment came across as likable on any human level to me. So I don't understand how people are supposed to relate to any of these people. But then we had the obligatory interruption from the general managers, which is basically what they are. It's the same tired WWE formula, and it's no good. So after the break, Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville, they had their first 4 picks in the first round of the second half of this WWE draft. And Becky Lynch was, in fact, pick number 1, going to Monday Night Raw, as she should have. With the second pick, SmackDown chose the Usos, and they cut to a shot of Paul Heyman in the back as the Usos were celebrating, clutching his chest, relieved that they did not have to leave him for dead because Roman Reigns sent them to Raw rather. Told Heyman, make sure my cousins get drafted to SmackDown. And I thought they were setting up for some kind of big storyline. Apparently not. With the third pick, Raw keeps Bobby Lashley. And with the fourth pick, SmackDown keeps Sasha Banks on Friday night. So Becky moving to Raw had to happen. Can we establish that first? And I said this on the podcast yesterday. Becky Lynch, unless she's going to go to Crown Jewel and lose the championship back to Bianca, and then Bianca and Charlotte do the whole, okay, we'll swap belts since we're on different shows now. Failing that, if Becky Lynch is going to remain the champion, she must move to Monday Night Raw. Because how is it going to look if Becky Lynch goes to SummerSlam and beats Bianca in 26 seconds and makes her look like an idiot? And then they do what they did at the pay-per-view where Bianca failed again because Sasha got involved in everything. And then Bianca gets moved to another show and she never gets her revenge on Becky Lynch. You can't do that. Becky has to move with her so they can continue the program. So this was a move that had to happen. And a move that I expected to happen. The Usos were always going to stay on SmackDown because they're not going to break up the bloodline. So it was a predictable move. It was the right move to make. They don't have to be on Raw. But I mentioned this whole storyline. Boy, they blew that off real fast. That was almost like, it was kind of clever the way they did that on Friday where Roman is like, all right, Paul, you're going to go make this right. You're going to make sure that my cousins are drafted to SmackDown. And Paul leaves the room. And Roman looks at Jimmy and Jay and goes, if he doesn't get the job done, you leave him for dead. Now, even though we knew the Usos were going to end up being drafted to SmackDown, I just thought, okay, maybe they're setting up for some big angle or some kind of show-long storyline. They blew it off in the first 2 segments of the show. What was the point of any of this? Now, there was a segment in the back that I'm going to talk about here in a little bit. But boy, that whole tease on SmackDown Friday just came off as completely fucking pointless. They just blew it off. Jimmy and Jay, first round, they get drafted. Okay. I guess there's no need for us to be on Raw. They could have just flown right back home. Lashley staying on Raw gave me hope that they would be keeping the Hurt Business together and not breaking them up again after 1 week. But again, Shelton and Cedric did not get drafted. They are undrafted. Now, if they're going to be making more draft picks tonight as we speak off the air, we'll find out if they end up on SmackDown or not. They may end up undrafted, and then they can just pick the show they want to go to and stay on Raw with Lashley. So we still don't know how that's going to shake out. Sasha staying on SmackDown means we could end up getting Sasha Banks against Toni Storm at some point soon, which makes me very happy. So I like the fact that Sasha is keeping her hair blue and staying on Friday nights. And plus, when Bayley is ready to come back, you got to keep the two of them on the same show together, right? Whether, I don't know if they're going to feud, if they're going to be a team again, I don't know. But SmackDown is the right place for Sasha Banks to be. So I was happy to see her stay put. We had Jeff Hardy against Damian Priest for the United States Championship. Now, I just got done talking about this on the podcast when I talked about last week's show. When Sheamus and Damian Priest had that well, basically it was an Extreme Rules match. It was more extreme than anything we saw on the pay-per-view. Great match on TV last week. They beat the hell out of each other for the U.S. title. But I said, even though we ended up getting a great match, I said at the pay-per-view, it was Sheamus who took the losing fall in the triple threat match. So logically, it would have made more sense for Jeff Hardy to be the one to get the title match last week. And instead, they gave it to Sheamus. Well, this week, Jeff Hardy got his shot. 1-on-1 for the championship. They come back from break. Jeff hits Whisper in the Wind, takes down Priest, but he only gets 2. Priest comes back with a kick, and he goes for the Reckoning, but Jeff counters out of it and tries for a Twist of Fate. Priest avoids. Hardy tries again. This time he hits it, and he nails it. And Jeff goes up to the heavens for the Swanton Bomb, and he comes off, and I thought Priest was going to get the knees up, but he didn't. And Jeff hit a normal-looking Swanton Bomb. And on commentary, Jimmy Smith is talking about how it looked awkward, his landing was awkward. No, what happened is that Jeff grabbed his back, as if, he tweaked his back or he hurt his back. They showed 3 replays of this. The move looked totally fine. I don't know what they were trying to sell here on commentary. The move looked exactly the way it always looks, but they were trying to make it sound like the landing was awkward. It was not awkward. But he went for the pin, and Priest crucifixed him over before 3, and he pinned Jeff Hardy 1-2-3. The finish, it was very sudden. It felt like people weren't expecting it so soon. I wasn't expecting it so soon either. And so there was no big reaction for the finish because I think people they weren't expecting it and they didn't know how to react. So they didn't give him some big applause. And plus, a lot of people were upset because people want to see Jeff Hardy win. They want to see him do well. I figured that was the reason they didn't do the match last week. They were worried that Jeff would get more cheers than Damian Priest. Here it was pretty even. But Priest beats him and retains the championship. It's another win for Damian Priest, who's racking up a whole series of wins, which is good to see. But Jeff was interviewed in the ring when the match was over. And Sarah Schreiber came in to interview him. Hey, Joshua Carlos, look at that, just became a channel member as well. We got 3 new members here, part of our little family tonight. Welcome, Joshua. But Sarah Schreiber was in the ring and interviewing Jeff. And Jeff says that, moving to SmackDown might be a good chance for people to see a different side of Jeff Hardy. He said, maybe a different ego. And I thought to myself, oh no. Oh no. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. I know Jeff has talked about wanting to do this for a very long time, and I just thought to myself, could it be? Could it possibly be the return of Willow? Could Willow be making his return, his debut in WWE? We might be seeing Willow on SmackDown very soon. We might be seeing Willow against Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. Be a whole new character, a whole new gimmick for Jeff Hardy to get over. This could be his last chance. He's not getting any younger. He's pushed for it before. He was pushing for a lot of things. He was pushing for his old theme song. He got that back. He may soon be getting his wish. We might be seeing Willow on SmackDown. So all of a sudden, Austin Theory's music hits from NXT. He was drafted to Raw. Here comes Austin Theory sprinting down to the ring, and he's acting all humble, and he's praising Jeff Hardy, and he's kissing Jeff Hardy's ass, and oh my God, you were such an inspiration to me when I was a kid growing up, and I watched you, and I idolized you. Nothing will make a person feel older than hearing something like that. And he's got his smartphone out, and he asked Jeff if they could take a selfie together. And Jeff obliges, but as they go in for the selfie, Theory clotheslines him. And then he picks him up and he drops Jeff with a twisting cutter face first across his knee. And Theory laid on the mat next to him and took a selfie anyway. And then he laughed all the way to the back. He was trolling Jeff Hardy. And that was the last we saw of Austin Theory on this show. I think Theory has a bright future. Theory was on Raw last year. They called him up very early, earlier than they probably should have, because they clearly didn't have a good plan for him. And he was on Raw for a few months, and you know he was involved with Zelina Vega and Andrade, and I think Angel Garza maybe. And then he got sent to NXT. And he did a lot of jobs, but he also got more experience, and he got better. He improved in the ring. He was having some pretty quality matches on NXT. And then he got linked up with the Garganos and Indy Hartwell. And for the better part of the last, I don't know, how long has it been? God, 6 to 9 months. He's basically been in a comedy role. He's been like a comedy stooge on NXT doing stuff with The Way and Johnny Gargano. And I thought he was very entertaining. I thought he was very entertaining at the wedding that they did, the Index wedding a few weeks ago. But without the Garganos being around, you can't do that same goofy gimmick. I mean, I guess you can, but it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense for them to still be doing the goofy gimmick with him. Plus, you already have a goof on the roster in Matt Riddle. You don't need more than one goof. Matt Riddle is the resident goof on Monday Night Raw. He's a goof who can go. He's very good in the ring. Clearly, what they were doing here is he was playing a different persona. This is going to be a different Austin Theory, and I think that's good. I think for him to get away from the goofiness. But if they play their cards right, he could be a big player for them on that Raw brand. Of course, that's relying on them to play their cards right, and these people don't know how to play fucking cards. But every now and then, they say even a blind squirrel finds a nut, right? A broken clock is right twice a day. Every now and then, they'll get it right with somebody. Even somebody who doesn't know how to play poker will end up having a great hand, and they'll make some money. And I hope that they can make some money with Austin Theory. So backstage, we had Randy Orton and Matt Riddle, speak of the devil. They were in the back being interviewed by Kevin Patrick, the Irish assassin, their new announcer who they hired many months ago. And Riddle was talking about how happy he was to have Orton back. I guess Orton was gone again for a few weeks due to a medical issue. And Orton basically laid down the gauntlet for Omos. Omos and Randy Orton one-on-one. He wanted to get him in the ring tonight because we're getting this match again at Crown Jewel in a few weeks for the Raw Tag Team titles. Omos and AJ Styles, I don't know why they're still a team, but they are, taking on Randy Orton and Matt Riddle, getting another match. And Orton wanted Omos one-on-one tonight. Keep that in mind for when we get back to this later in the show. So now it was time for round 2 of the draft. And our next 4 picks. Monday Night Raw chose Seth Rollins, which you knew was coming the moment that Becky Lynch got drafted to Monday Night Raw. They didn't break up any couples in this draft. They kept Rollins and Becky together. They kept Montez Ford and Bianca Belair together. They kept Naomi and Jimmy Uso together. WWE, they once upon a time didn't give 2 shits. It almost was as if they went out of their way to break up couples in the draft. At least now they're not doing that anymore. So Rollins is coming to Raw. SmackDown shows King Nakamura and Rick Boogs, which kept the Intercontinental title on Friday nights. Conversely, Raw selected Damian Priest, which keeps the United States Championship on Monday nights. And with the final pick of the second round, SmackDown selected Sheamus, which is great because that means that Sheamus is now going to be eligible to challenge for and possibly win his first Intercontinental title. Sheamus was on that show they have, The Bump. I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago, something like that. And he spoke very openly about how much it would mean to him to win the Intercontinental title because it's the only championship. Now, I don't believe he's been Universal Champion, but it really is one of the only titles that he's never won. He's won everything else. He's been WWE Champion, US Champion, Tag Team Champions on both shows, King of the Ring, Royal Rumble winner. I mean, this guy's done it all. But he's never won the Intercontinental title. And clearly, listening to him speak, it would mean a lot to him to win it. Well, now he's on SmackDown. He's a heel. Nakamura is a face. We may have just found the person who was going to dethrone King Nakamura and become the next Intercontinental Champion. Sheamus is going to have his opportunity, and I'm happy for the guy. Shayna Baszler, one-on-one with Dana Brooke, who I legitimately forgot was even employed. I think in my brain, I haven't seen her lately, and I just assumed that she got swept up in that one of the waves of releases. We had releases in April, we had more releases, I think, in June, and again in August, and I think I just assumed that she was part of that, but apparently not. May as well be. I mean, this didn't even last 90 seconds here before Baszler locked on the Kirifuda clutch, tapped her out. After the match, she grabbed Dana outside the ring, and she was about to break her arm on the ring steps the way she did to Nia Jax and to Eva Marie, when Doudrop skipped on down to the ring. Here comes Doudrop. And Doudrop, I guess, is coming to the rescue here. Shayna goes to leave. She goes to back away. And when Doudrop turns her back, Shayna buries a forearm in her back, which Doudrop basically no-sells, and she looks up, and she just stares at Shayna. She stares her down, and Shayna stares back at her, and that was it. So they're teasing a match between them, but that was the entire segment right there. That was the whole thing. Backstage, Kevin Patrick is back. He caught up with Paul Heyman and the Usos in the back. They were in a very jovial mood, and Heyman called himself the warden of the Uso Penitentiary. And then when he was asked if that is how he maintained Brock Lesnar's status as a free agent, you being the warden of the Uso Penitentiary, is that how you got Brock Lesnar to be a free agent? All of a sudden, their whole demeanor changed. And the Usos looked at Heyman with this very distrustful look on their face, and they walked off, and Heyman was left standing there, sulking, all alone, all by himself. So that was the extent to which we got any storyline advancement on this thing. Again, I just can't believe that the way they kind of teased that on Friday. I guess I was expecting more. Maybe that was my mistake. When I expect more out of Monday Night Raw, I usually get let down. If I leave my expectations where they should be, which is way down at the bottom, basically no expectations, go into these shows with no expectations whatsoever, I might have a fighting shot, a fighting chance of coming out of it and thinking, hey, this show was better than I expected it to be. Tonight was not one of those nights. But that's on me. We had Mustafa, or I guess it's Mustafa. I've been saying it wrong. It is Mustafa Ali and Mansoor against Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo. Shout out to JD Films, who just became a Sound Off legend. Not only a Sound Off channel member, but he became a legend, our top tier member. So shout out to JD Films. I got my own film review up the other day. You should go check out and let me know what you think. This is another example. This actually is one of the segments that really irritated me on this show, and I'm going to tell you why. One of the reasons that this irritated me is how brief it was. This match didn't even go 2 minutes. Now, you have two teams here that are very talented, Ali and Mansoor. They've been gelling as a team. Garza and Humberto, they've only been put together for a few weeks, but I like the chemistry they have. This could have been a pretty good TV match in the middle of this 3-hour show. Long show, right? Plenty of time. And they gave them less than 2 minutes. Carrillo slammed Ali's head against the ring post. Garza distracted the referee, so the referee didn't see it. And Carrillo prevented Mansoor from breaking up the cover. As I said, Garza pinned Ali to win it for his team. As soon as the match was over, the heels roll out to the floor. The match just ended. It just ended, and Big E's music hit. It was so quick, and it was so sudden that you would think Big E is coming out to involve himself in this, even though that wouldn't have made any sense, because what the fuck does Big E have anything to do with these 4 guys? But no, they obviously they must have felt like they were running short on time, even though they were still in the first hour, but we were getting close to 9 p.m. We were just at the top of the hour at 9 p.m. Probably the football game was starting or really, first getting going, I guess. I don't know. Whatever the excuse was, this was so rushed that, first of all, the match itself was nothing. But this was so rushed. Garza and Carrillo got the win. What does it even matter? What was even the purpose of sending these 4 guys out to the ring other than just to fill time? My biggest gripe with Monday Night Raw, so many segments on the show feel like they're just there to fill time. They don't serve any real purpose. They're certainly not there for quality. They're there because, shit, we got time to kill so we can get to the next segment. We have time to kill so we can get to the top of the hour. So let's just send these 4 guys out there. Don't let them do what they do best. Just send them on out there. Let them 90 seconds. They'll have a little match. Who gives a shit? I don't see how anybody could possibly give a shit, because they weren't given a chance. This was so rushed. Big E came out. You could see them. The guys are still at ringside in the background. They're almost like fans in the background. And Big E just gets into the ring because he's got a promo coming up next in the next segment. This was insulting to these guys. I'd be pissed if I were any of these 4. Doesn't really seem like the company has a whole lot of faith in these 4, or really gives much of a shit about them. So when they were drafted in this draft, I mean, why is anybody supposed to look at that and go, oh, look? Because tonight Garza and Carrillo were drafted over to SmackDown. Oh, great. So they can go on SmackDown and what, have a 2-minute match there? We're supposed to care about that? Give me a break. All 4 of these guys look like a bunch of fucking geeks when this segment was over. So Big E is standing out there. They go to commercial. He's standing out there through the entire commercial break. They come back. He's still standing out there, but we got to go to Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville, because now it's time for round 3 of the draft. With the first pick of the 3rd round, Monday Night Raw selects AJ Styles and Omos. SmackDown, with the 2nd pick, selects Shayna Baszler, moving from Raw to SmackDown. So much for my idea of having her beat Charlotte before Charlotte goes over to the Blue brand and take the Raw Women's title from her. So much for that. Well, you know what? Hey, we have this Queen's Crown tournament coming up. We still don't know a fucking name that's in either of these tournaments, the King of the Ring or the Queen's Crown. We're probably not going to know until Friday afternoon. But maybe a nice consolation prize for Shayna Baszler, the Queen of Spades. Maybe she wins the Queen's Crown. The only problem with that is that WWE, when you become the king, or in this case, the queen, they take that literally. So do I really want to see Shayna Baszler, who the last couple of weeks has looked like a killer when she comes out on TV? This is the closest thing to the old Shayna Baszler from NXT that we have seen. When she broke Nia Jax's arm, and she broke Eva Marie's arm, and she was about to break Dana Brooke's arm tonight. Do I really want to see Shayna Baszler walking around for the next year? Or more? Baron Corbin won King of the Ring. He walked around for 2 years with a fucking crown. Do I really want to see Shayna Baszler walking around for 2 years with a crown and a robe and a scepter? Probably not. So I have to be careful when I wish for these things or I pitch these ideas. I have to be careful because it's one of those, hey, be careful what you wish for type of things. But if we could avoid that, I actually think that she would be a fine choice to win the Queen of the Ring tournament. I'm calling it Queen of the Ring because that's what it is. So Shayna Baszler is going to SmackDown, and you know who's not going to be on SmackDown with Shayna Baszler? Nia Jax. So even if Nia comes back and she wants revenge, she won't be able to get it because she's on Raw. And she was drafted. Just because she's out now, she wasn't undrafted. She was drafted to Raw. So finally, they are officially split. They are not on the same brand. I've been, dying for them to get these two away from each other, and now it's finally official. Monday Night Raw with the third pick of the third round, as predicted, is Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens goes to Monday Night Raw. Kevin Owens flip-flops every single year. Every year. He goes from Raw to SmackDown, SmackDown to Raw, Raw to Smack, so on and so forth, every single year. So you knew that Kevin Owens was going to switch brands. It's what they do with him. Now he's off to Raw, and again, he's going to try to get a fresh start here in this company. You want to know when Kevin Owens is going to get a fresh start? Kevin Owens is going to get a fresh start as long as he doesn't lose his fucking mind and re-sign a contract with this company. He's going to have a fresh start on February 1st of 2022, the day after his contract expires. That's when Kevin Owens will have a fresh start. For real. You got to think he's counting down the days. And SmackDown with the fourth pick selects Xia Li from NXT. You had to see that one coming because she's been missing from television for weeks and she's not hurt. She did a few dark matches, just like Austin Theory, just like Dakota Kai, who was not drafted tonight, but I have a feeling that before this night is over, we might be hearing that she is drafted. So Xia Li is now officially on SmackDown, and with that, the Tian Sha group on NXT is officially dead. It has been sick for many weeks. It has been terminally ill. And with this announcement, with Xia Li officially being gone from NXT, Tian Sha is dead. Because when you have an old woman, or a woman pretending to be an old woman, and Boa, when you're left with Boa and nobody else, your group is dead. So rest in peace, Tian Sha. What do you do? The whole cross thing, right? There you go. It was nice knowing you. Big E was in the ring this entire time waiting for his segment. Standing there. So finally they go to Big E in the ring. He was waiting patiently for his segment. And Big E talked about the New Day once again being split up in the draft, which got more boos. Fans do not like New Day being split up. That's right. 1,000-year-old dragon lady. That's right. Karen Q. And he talked about being in the fight of his life last week with Bobby Lashley. And then he reminded us about what happened at the end of the show last week when Drew McIntyre came out to point his sword. He was on the stage, remember, and he pointed his sword over at Big E to end the show. They were teasing a future match between these two. So that brought out Drew McIntyre. Oh my God, this fucking segment. Here comes Drew McIntyre and his sword. He goes, "It's a Drew Day. Yes, it is." And you could see Big E in the ring, like the eye roll. I don't think if they tried, I don't think they could have scripted a more uncool line for him to say on this show. It's a Drew Day. Yes, it is. And the crowd reacted appropriately, which is to say, they thought the line was shit too. There's nothing cool about Drew McIntyre standing in the ring and saying that. And there's nothing worse than an uncool babyface. So he said Big E deserved to be WWE champion, and he offered him his congratulations. But then he pointed out, technically, you beat Bobby Lashley, who was hurt after he had wrestled Randy Orton. But he goes, also, technically, nobody really likes Bobby Lashley, so it's okay. But then he challenged Big E to a match for the WWE Championship, even though McIntyre has already been drafted to SmackDown. He challenged him anyway to a match for the WWE title. So then they're interrupted by Dolph fucking Ziggler and Big Bob. This is the story of tonight's episode of Raw. 2 words, Big Bob. In case you didn't know, this is the new name they're trying to get over for Bobby Roode. I know that because the announcers said it about 150 fucking times tonight. Big Bob, Big Bob, Big Bob. Corey Graves wouldn't shut up. Big Bob, Big Bob, Big Bob. Bob's Discount Furniture. Big Bob, Big Bob. Out they come. And Ziggler points out that he never got a thank you from Big E despite their history together. And he threw it to a video package, and they showed highlights from when Big E first came up to the main roster. Remember, it was Big E as the bodyguard for Dolph Ziggler. It was Big E Langston. It was Dolph Ziggler, and it was AJ Lee as a trio. In fact, Big E was in Dolph's corner when he cashed in Money in the Bank on Alberto Del Dipshit, and he won the World Heavyweight Championship the night after WrestleMania 29. I was in the building that night. That was the peak of Dolph Ziggler's career. So for as long as he has been in this company, I'm proud to say that I was there live the night that Dolph Ziggler peaked. And it's been all downhill ever since. But Big E was there that night. It was a very emotional moment, and they all hugged and embraced in the ring. And so Dolph is pointing out, I helped you. I mentored you. I helped bring you into the fold when you came up to the main roster, and he wanted a thank you. Never got a thank you from Big E. He said, without DZ, there is no Big E. And then he turned his attention to Drew McIntyre. And he showed a video package for him as well, showing when he took Drew under his wing. After Drew got fired, remember, he went out on the independents and he went to Impact and he changed his physique and he became this whole new man. And then WWE rehired him. He was in NXT for a while. He got hurt. And then they called him up to Monday Night Raw. And they did so with Dolph Ziggler. And they were a tag team. In fact, they were the Raw Tag Team Champions there for a period of time. And so Dolph pointed that out as well. And he said, all I want is a simple thank you. I did all the work and you got to ride my coattails. All I want is a thank you. So then there was some comedy in here. This is where Bobby Roode referred to himself. He was talking about Big E as a bodyguard. I mean, look at this body. Call you a bodyguard. They call me Big Bob. That was the first mention of Big Bob here on this show. Big Bob. That's the new name they're trying to get over. More like What About Bob? They always forget about Bob. Now we're supposed to remember that Bob even exists. Now he's Big Bob. We got Big Bill, who came out later on in the show. We got Big Bill and Big Bob. This led to the predictable tag team match being made with Roode and Ziggler against Big E and Big D. That's what he called himself. First, it's a Drew Day, yes it is. And now it's Big D tagging with Big E. I couldn't believe. I looked at the clock on my computer and I couldn't believe we were not even at the halfway point of this show. I thought that something was wrong with the clock. I thought maybe it was running slow. I had to check it against my watch. I had to check it against the atomic clock just to make sure I was looking at the correct time, and I was. We weren't even at the halfway point of this show. This show feels like it takes forever. Like it's never going to end. Now you know. That's what Hit Row says, right? If you don't know, now you know. Now you know why I don't go live after the show every week. We got an ad for the King of the Ring and the Queen's Crown tournaments, which start on SmackDown this Friday. They continue next Monday on Raw. Still no announcement of who's actually going to be in either of these tournaments. But I did throw out that Shayna Baszler idea a little while ago. So we had McIntyre and Big E against Roode and Ziggler. We got about 50 Big Bob references from the announcers. Late in the match, Big E set up for the big ending to Ziggler. McIntyre, though, tagged himself in. And Big D blasted Ziggler with a Claymore kick, and he pinned him. That was really it. After the match, McIntyre, he was staring at that WWE title over Big E's shoulder. Look at this. Look at the Fiend. Look, they massacred my boy at Extreme Rules. That's right there. That's the death of the Fiend. Not the Fiend. What am I talking about? The demon. The death of the demon right there. Face first. He face planted. It's funny to me when they showed a video package tonight showing that Finn Balor, I'll tell you where he's going in a second, but Finn Balor was drafted. And they did this whole video package, and they were talking about the demon. And the demon's going to come with him. And I'm thinking, who gives a shit? Not only did he lose, and you knew he was going to lose at some point, the way in which he lost. I can never take that character seriously ever again. All I'm going to see, because somebody mocked it up for me. I told them they should submit it as like a Botchamania ending, where the rope break happens at Extreme Rules, and the demon falls face first down on the mat, but you hear the audio from Kevin Costner and JFK, back and to the left, and then the demon falls back and to the left. That's all I'm going to think of now when I think of the demon. The demon is dead. The demon is dead. So I had to add the dead demon there as a super chat. Anyway, McIntyre is staring at the title, and Big E goes, we could do it at Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia. So I don't know if they have since announced that it's official, but obviously it's going to be made official. And so it will be Big E and Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. You know, you can look at it one of two ways. You can look at it the way that I do, which is that I don't know why there's supposed to be any drama here, because nobody could possibly believe that Drew McIntyre is going to win this match. He's been drafted to SmackDown. They already have Roman Reigns on SmackDown. They have the Universal title on SmackDown. Are we supposed to believe that Drew McIntyre in Saudi Arabia is going to win the WWE Championship and take the title with him to SmackDown? No. So there is no drama going into the match. On the other hand, Big E needs an opponent. Drew McIntyre could use an opponent to get on the show. And it would be another big win for Big E. Right? Big E already pinned Bobby Lashley. He pinned him actually more than once. He pinned him 3 times, I think, including that 6-man tag at the pay-per-view. He pinned him in the cage. So it'll be a win for him, a win for the champion to rack up at the next big event. So those are the two ways that you can look at it. I don't see any drama in this at all. Now that they've announced where Drew is going, I don't really see where the excitement comes from here with this match. They cut to a segment in the back with Reggie and more of his 24/7 hijinks, and I immediately tuned out. I told you was it last week? I think it was last week. They had Reggie in the ring with Ricochet. And I said, man, this could be a really fun match. This could be like a video game match. Because these two guys, these are the two flippiest wrestlers on the entire roster, right? And not everybody is into the flippy shit. But if you're going to do flippy shit, you do it the right way. We know Reggie can flip. We know Ricochet is better than anybody at flipping. And I thought this could be a fun match. And they put them in the ring, and it was over in about 60 seconds, and it ended on a disqualification. And I said, fuck this company. Because the one time you actually got me to not fast forward through a 24/7 segment and you gave me something I thought was going to be cool, you fucked it up. And that's the last time you're going to fuck me. At least buy me dinner before you fuck me. So tonight, when I saw Reggie in the back, I said, I'm not watching this shit. So I went and I did my taxes and I painted the wall and I did some other stuff while all the 24/7 shit was going on. I did my taxes early. Boy, do I owe a lot. Kevin Owens was back on Raw for the next segment. And before he could even speak, he was interrupted by Akira Tozawa, of all people. Of all people for Kevin Owens to be in. And this was after the 24/7 segment. I just assumed he was part of that segment with Reggie. Maybe he was. I didn't watch it. They go to the next segment, and here comes Akira Tozawa, who came out and apologized to Kevin Owens and said, I don't want you. I want to challenge Reggie for the 24/7 title, which we just saw the 24/7 crap on TV. Now it's bleeding over into a second segment. And Tozawa turns his back on Owens and he's waiting for Reginald to come out. And Kevin Owens is standing there and he spins him around, he kicks him in the gut and he gives him a stunner. And this was the most tepid, lukewarm response to a Stone Cold Stunner that you have ever seen. He should just stop using the move at this point. It's embarrassing. I mean, it's not like there's nobody on the main roster worthy of using that move. He should just give up. He should just give it up. It's pathetic to see him using that move and it getting no reaction whatsoever. It's not like he's winning matches with it, right? Not very many of them anyway. But that was the whole segment. Owens came out. They went to a break. He stood there like an idiot. They came back. Tozawa interrupted. He gave him a stunner and he left. We don't know what he was out there for. We don't know what he was going to do, what he was going to say, if he was going to interview somebody, if he was going to quit and walk out. We have no idea. He left, and it was on to the next segment. That was it. Kevin Owens, as I was watching him out there, I was looking at him, and my God, he looks dead inside. He's got the dead eyes. Go back and watch that. The man looks dead inside. He is going to be much happier in a few months if he could just be patient and hold out long enough. He can join his friends. That is where Kevin Owens is headed. And from death will spring life. New life. A new lease on life for Kevin Owens is but a few months away. In the fourth round of the 2021 WWE Draft, Raw selected the Street Profits, Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins, which keeps Montez together with Bianca Belair on the same brand. SmackDown selected the Viking Raiders, who will now be raiding SmackDown on Fridays. Raw selected Finn Balor, the man who just challenged Roman Reigns, not once but twice, for the Universal Championship, who just headlined and main evented the pay-per-view last Sunday. He gets drafted third in the fourth round of this draft. And I'm going to say something nice about this, because when I heard that Balor was drafted to Raw, after we saw in the previous round who was drafted to Raw, who's staying on Raw, we now have Finn Balor and AJ Styles together on the same show. They are on the same brand together at the same time. And I think that could be a lot of fun. There is a lot of potential there to do something with Finn Balor and AJ Styles. It's been a long time since we've seen the two of them share the same roster together or do anything together. That could be fun. That I am looking forward to seeing if they actually do anything with it. And the last pick of the round was SmackDown selecting Rick O'Shea. Rick O'Shea is going to have a change of scenery. Maybe he'll be like a baseball player. Sometimes, you get in a rut. You're barely batting 200. You're 0 for your last 50. You just need a change. This could be the change that Rick O'Shea needs. Nothing is going to change. I'm trying to be optimistic. Work with me here. I'm trying to be optimistic for this guy's sake. Nothing will change. Or for a few weeks it'll change. Like it did for Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews changed his whole character. He got Commander Aziz. He became the Intercontinental Champion. He was getting a little push. How long did that last? Not very long. He didn't win very many matches after he won the championship, and now he's on Monday Night Raw. But we have to hold out hope for our friend Rick O'Shea. So then we had almost a superhero. Nikki Ash, Solomonster, was almost comatose by this point. Nikki and Rhea Ripley against Natalya and Tamina for the women's tag team titles. And again, this is when Rhea came out here, all I could think is, this is my brutality. What a fitting theme song for this show. For this show tonight, for this show, this brand every week. It should be the new anthem of Monday Night. They should get rid of whatever that song is that they use now at the beginning of Raw and just put Rhea's music on there. Ripley had Natalya beat with a Northern Lights suplex, but Tamina broke up the cover. Nikki went up to the top, and she wiped out both the heels on the outside with a giant crossbody dive out to the floor. Ripley gave Tamina a riptide, tagged in Nikki, and she put Nikki up on her shoulders, and Nikki hit a splash off of the shoulders of Rhea to pin Tamina to retain the tag team titles. So we got some tandem offense here from the champs, which you love to see. That's pretty cool. We're back again for the first pick of the fifth round of the WWE Draft. Loop Cannon in the chat wants to know what brand Bo Dallas ended up on. Bo Dallas is no longer with WWE. I don't know where you have been. Apparently, Loop Cannon has been out of the loop. See what I did there? Bo Dallas was released. Bo Dallas is no longer in WWE. Bo Dallas actually just started a YouTube channel. He just put his first video up the other day. He was like cooking with Bo. He's in a kitchen. He's making chicken breasts or something, or chicken thighs. I don't know. He's making chicken. So that's what he's doing. He claims he still wants to be in wrestling, and he'll end up somewhere. We don't know where. Maybe, who knows? He can end up anywhere. But he is not in WWE anymore. So we get to the fifth round here. The first pick of the round, staying on Monday Night Raw, is Karrion Kross. Staying on Raw. SmackDown selects Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo. Monday Night Raw selects Alexa Bliss and Byron Saxton on commentary. And I don't know why he said this. I don't know if he was fed this line. I don't know if it's just instinct on his part. But they announced that Alexa Bliss was drafted to Raw. And Byron Saxton says that Alexa has been gone for some time. I'm thinking, gone for some time? She's been gone for a fucking week. Unless he was referring to her mind, in which case that makes a lot of sense. But I don't think that's what he was referring to. I think in his mind, he thinks she's been gone for a long time. Is he a time traveler? Does Byron Saxton take a fucking DeLorean to Raw every week and he forgot for a second exactly what year he was in? She's been gone for some time. We just had a pay-per-view last weekend. She wrestled on that show. How long does he think she was gone for? Oh, man. And SmackDown selected Cesaro. So that keeps him on the blue brand. Cesaro had his push earlier this year. I'm not going to get too greedy here. We got him in a pay-per-view main event against Roman Reigns. They had a very good match. That's about as good as it's going to get for Cesaro. Do not expect some kind of renewed push for him on SmackDown going forward. So we finally reached the 10 p.m. hour. My God, to get to the 10 p.m. hour. It's just, I feel like I've accomplished something, but by the time I get to this point in the show and I'm still, conscious and awake and cognizant of what's going on, I feel like I've actually accomplished something. I should reward myself with a cookie or something. It's my birthday on Wednesday. I should go, buy a cake and treat myself. What a birthday gift this show was. We finally reached 10 p.m. and that brought out Goldberg, his first live appearance since SummerSlam. And he invited Bobby Lashley to the ring. In his words, so he could break his frickin' neck. That's according to the word of Goldberg. Going to break his neck. And out came Lashley in his dapper red suit, more of a maroon color than a red. He said he wasn't coming down to the ring and risking ruining his custom-made suit. He said Goldberg owes him an apology for perpetrating this character assassination by implying that he intended to hurt Sundberg at SummerSlam. He said he would give Goldberg a match at Crown Jewel, but under one condition, and that condition is that the match be no holds barred. And that was perfectly fine with Goldberg, because Goldberg says that gives him a license to kill. Boy, they're really going overboard here with this whole, I'm going to kill you, you're going to die. It's some kind of directive. They're trying to be edgier here. These are words that, even several months ago, you would never hear on WWE television. And all of a sudden, Goldberg last week, he says, I'm going to kill you. He said it again this week. He said the only apology he would give is to Lashley's kids for killing their father and leaving him gasping for breath. He said at Crown Jewel, you're next, and you're dead. And Lashley invited Sundberg, wherever he is, to come to Saudi Arabia. Join your father. I dare you to try doing that again, what you did at SummerSlam. And this time, it won't be a misunderstanding. And Shelton and Cedric, they showed up. They attacked Goldberg from behind, but Goldberg made short work of them. He kneed Cedric in the head. He speared Shelton. I guess we know the real reason why the Hurt Business was reunited. To get their asses kicked by Goldberg. And now my fear is that when this program is over in a few weeks, that may be the end of the Hurt Business. They may have, used up their usefulness to Bobby Lashley. This might be a short-lived reunion after all. So in the back, Kevin Patrick interviewed Seth Rollins. Rollins was very annoying in this segment. He is doing all the drip god stuff. He was laughing. It's Seth Rollins now. That's his whole gimmick. I think he and Becky are taking bets on which one of them can be more annoying on television. Because my God, have they both been annoying on these shows. So Rollins said that he was back and better than ever on Raw. Kevin Patrick reminded him that a certain someone, that being Edge, was also drafted to Raw. They're now on the same brand yet again. And Rollins cut him off, and he didn't want to hear Edge's name. He just wanted to party. Let's go. Let's get ready to party. Somewhere in here, he dropped an S-bomb, which is something else that they've been doing more of on television, including NXT. This is their way of being edgier. We're going to say the S word. Doesn't make the show any better, but we're going to make it edgier. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods against Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander, who we just saw get their asses handed to them not 2 minutes ago. Still undrafted, by the way. Woods was lobbying to be in the King of the Ring tournament on his way to the ring. He was looking in the camera. You better put me in the tournament. Crown me, crown me. If he is not in this King of the Ring tournament, this guy, he might snap. This might end up in a very bad way. He's been obsessed with this for years. Not only in the tournament, but if he doesn't win the tournament, I don't know. I mean, psychologically, he might just be completely gone. There might not be any coming back from this if they don't give this guy the crown in this tournament. There was really nothing to the match. I mean, Woods ended up hitting a long-distance elbow from one corner of the ring to the other onto Cedric Alexander, and he got the pin to win the match. Street Profits, the newly drafted to Monday Night Raw Street Profits, came out when the match was over, and Angelo Dawkins wanted to know how the New Day escaped The Undertaker, because tomorrow their Netflix movie is coming out, which I will be watching. I don't know when, but I'm going to watch the Escape the Undertaker movie on Netflix with the New Day. It sounds like it's either going to be very entertaining in an unexpected way, or it's going to be fucking atrocious. But either way, it's going to make, I think, for a very entertaining review. So at some point this week, I do hope to watch that movie. And Montez Ford said that they were back on Raw and they want the smoke, and they offered Kofi Kingston a drink, and he took the red Solo cup and he drank whatever was in there, and all of a sudden he was dancing like a fool, and that was the whole segment. This was a waste of time. Randy Orton and Matt Riddle were out. Speaking of a waste of time, you know, I get angrier as the show goes on, because I feel like as the show gets longer, I'm expecting these segments to at least serve some kind of real major purpose and not just feel like they're wasting my time. And we got a lot of that on the show tonight, where it just felt like they're wasting my time. The later in the night that it gets, I get more and more irritated when I feel like my time is just being wasted. Randy Orton and Riddle came out. They wanted an answer about whether or not Omos was going to come out and accept Randy Orton's challenge to a match. Are you AJ's personal colossus, or are you AJ's personal bitch? Styles and Omos came out and talked about getting their belts back at Crown Jewel. Orton got sick of listening to Styles. He knocked him down. And then when Omos charged at Orton, Orton ducked, and he caught AJ with an RKO, and he dropped him. And then Orton hurried out of the ring, and that was it. No match. Apparently in storyline, he never wanted a match. His whole idea in challenging Omos was to get him to come out, and I guess he assumed that AJ would be with him and that AJ would go on this long-winded promo. And when he did so, he would attack AJ. Boy, it's a good thing AJ came out, I guess. That was his whole plan here. We're going to lay out AJ Styles, and we're going to run away. We're going to piss off the 7'3" guy. Good plan. This was very dumb. So 84 years later, it was time for the sixth and final, thank God, round of this draft. With their first pick of the round, Monday Night Raw selected Carmella. With the second pick, SmackDown selected Ridge Holland from NXT. So they have broken up the pairing of Pete Dunne and Ridge Holland. They have been a unit for a while now on NXT, and now Pete Dunne will have to go it alone. Is Ridge Holland ready for this? Ridge Holland is okay in the ring. I think that he has the potential to be something special. There are things about him that remind me of a young Brock Lesnar. We haven't really seen it as much, I feel like, since he came back from the injury. I noticed it more when he first started showing up on NXT. His movements, his mannerisms. I'm not saying he's going to be the next Brock Lesnar. I'm just saying physically. Not as big and tall as Brock, but just the way that he kind of moves around and stuff reminded me in some ways of Brock, and the way he was throwing people around. I mean, if he has even a few ounces of what Brock Lesnar has, there could be something really special in Ridge Holland. I just hope they haven't called him up too soon. And the fact that he isn't a great promo, unless they put someone with him, hopefully that will not work against them. He could talk. There are people on these rosters far worse than Ridge Holland. I mean, we've heard Ridge Holland speak on TV before. I don't know what their idea is with him. I don't know what Vince McMahon thinks of Ridge Holland. I don't know if it was his idea to call him up, if it was somebody else. And does Vince McMahon even know much about Ridge Holland? I don't know. For his sake, I hope so, but I guess we're going to find out. I wasn't expecting him to be called up, but he's coming to SmackDown. With the third pick, this was probably the biggest surprise of the draft. With the third pick of this final round, Raw selects the 2020 Olympic gold medalist himself, who just signed weeks ago, with the company. Gable Steveson is going to Monday Night Raw. In fact, I believe he has yet to finish school. The idea is that they're going to be building him his own training camp or training facility close to his school so that he can continue to finish out his studies. I think he's the NCAA is trying out, I think, maybe for the team, and he's going to graduate in May. And at that point, the idea is that he would be TV ready. So I wouldn't expect to see much of Gable Steveson on TV between now and probably deep into the spring. Because if he's still at school and they're doing all of that, I don't see how he's going to be on Monday Night Raw every week. He should not be on Monday Night Raw every single week. This is a guy who they clearly are very high on. This is a guy who has been compared in some ways to Kurt Angle on his path, right? Kurt Angle, Olympic gold medal wrestler. Gable Steveson just won a gold medal in the Olympics for his country. Can he be the next Kurt Angle? I don't want to put him in those shoes because I think that's unfair. That's a lot of pressure to put on somebody. But he's got that Olympic pedigree. He's a great athlete. He's a huge wrestling fan. He's always been a big WWE fan, so he gets it. Is he going to take to it like a duck to water the way Kurt Angle did or the way Brock Lesnar did? Those guys were great in year one. Is Gable Steveson going to be the next Brock Lesnar or Kurt Angle who picks it up like that and is great in year one? We don't know. But the worst thing they could do is rush him up to the main roster and put him on TV before he's ready. This guy hasn't had a single match yet. He hasn't gone through training yet. So this sounds to me like they just wanted to make a big splash. They had footage of him at home with his parents. You know how they do it with the NFL draft and the NBA draft. They cut to home and you see everybody celebrating when they find out that so-and-so, Joe Blow, was picked by the New York Knicks. I don't know why you would celebrate that, but yay, I've been drafted. And they did that. You know, they show Gable Steveson with his parents at home, and who knows when they taped that. So that's what they were going for. They wanted to make a big splash. I would not expect to see him on TV for a while. But when he's ready, he'll have a spot, I guess, on the Monday Night Raw roster. He will be on TV within this next year. But I think to put him on TV in the next few months would be absolutely fucking insane. In no universe is this guy ready to be on TV when he hasn't even trained to have a match yet. He could be something very special. You can't rush that. Let him develop. Let him pick up on it. Ease him into it. And hey, if he can be anything like Kurt Angle was, or pick it up as quickly as Kurt did, then you've got a money player on your hands. So him signing was a big deal. But now it comes down to how does he develop, right? Now the question becomes, can he live up to expectations? We know he has the gold medal, but can he be something on the level of a Kurt Angle? And with the final pick of the draft, SmackDown selects Sami Zayn, which means that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are no longer on the same brand. Is this the first time since they have been together in WWE that these two are not on the same brand? find that impossible to believe. If it isn't, it is one of the few times that they have not been on the same brand. Yes, Joey Donut says the Knicks are getting better. Watch them go to the playoffs again. I know that they are getting better, but for so long, they have been a disgrace at Madison Square Garden. And I don't even blame them. I blame the owner. I blame James Dolan, one of the worst owners in sports. Charlotte Flair against Bianca Belair was our main event tonight. Boy, we have a lot of Knicks fans and Knicks defenders here in the chat saying, "Come on, give them credit. They had a good season." Well, they had a better season than usual, but after how many years of not being very good, right? They have to build on that. How about I say the Jets? That'd make you happier because the Jets are no good, although they just won, so good for them. Charlotte Flair against Bianca Belair. Becky Lynch was out to do commentary, and I shuddered when I saw her coming out after her performance on Smackdown Friday night, talking about triple threat, going overboard, going over the top to try to be as annoying as humanly possible. She was back out for commentary for this match. So they wrestle for a little bit. They go to a break. They come back. Bianca has Charlotte up for a delayed vertical suplex. Charlotte then counters out of a KOD. She lands on her feet, hits a spear, only gets a near fall. Bianca gives Charlotte a very sloppy-looking spine buster. This did not turn out the way that they wanted it to. And Charlotte ends up going up top for her moonsault. Bianca rolls out of the way. Charlotte lands on her feet. She does the Andrade move where she hits a standing moonsault, and that connects. Charlotte goes for the figure four, or the beginnings, I guess, of the figure eight. As she is attempting the move, Bianca pulls her through for a schoolboy for a near fall. Bianca ends up getting her up for the KOD, and she hits it. She hits the kiss of death. Charlotte is down. She's kind of close to the ropes. Bianca goes for the pin. Becky reaches in, breaks up the fall. She throws Belair into the steps. That's a disqualification. So this ended the same way that, well, actually, no, not the same way, because we actually had a winner in that match, because Sasha won that match. But Becky, for the second time in a row, gets involved in one of Bianca's matches here. On Friday, she held the braid. Here, she pulled her out of the ring and threw her into the steps. This was a DQ. She puts her in the ring. Becky hits the manhandle slam. All of a sudden, who shows up at the very end of the show but Sasha Banks? And she attacks Becky Lynch, and she gives her the knees in the corner. She gives knees to Bianca in the corner. Becky tries to make a comeback, and Sasha gives her a backstabber. You know, for a first-time ever match, this should have felt like a bigger deal, and it didn't. There was actually nothing on this show felt like a big deal. Nothing. All the draft stuff overshadowed it. Even the draft stuff, you know, we could talk about the individual moves, but all right, here comes Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville again to announce a whole bunch of moves. Who cares? Who cares? There was nothing really special or fun about the way they did the draft. It's just, you know, let's just send them out there and they'll announce a whole bunch of moves and that's it. The matches were not given any kind of time, any kind of length. This match, this may have been the longest match on the show, and even this match didn't get that much time. But that was the story of the night on this 3-hour show. Nothing was given any real time to breathe or to develop into anything fun or anything special. After tonight, these are how the two brands match up. Now, keep in mind, there are going to be more moves. Some of them may have already been made. I'll check here in a little bit to see if there are any new moves to speak of. Or you can let me know in the chat. So this is not the final list, but this is as of the moment that Raw went off the air tonight. These are the Monday Night Raw and SmackDown rosters. Monday Night Raw has the WWE Champion Big E, Bianca Belair, Edge, Randy Orton and Matt Riddle, Rhea Ripley and Nikki Cross, Keith Bearcat Lee. Can't forget about the Bearcat. Apparently the cat was in his litter box tonight. We didn't see him anywhere. Rey and Dominik Mysterio, Austin Theory from NXT, Drake Maverick from NXT, Nia Jax, John Morrison, Zelina Vega moving from SmackDown to Raw, Otis and Chad Gable, Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz, Doudrop, Akira Tozawa, T-Bar, R-Truth, and Reginald. Those are your Monday Night Raw moves. Tonight, these are the moves, the final moves for Monday Night Raw. These are all the people now that are on the Monday Night Raw roster as of tonight's show. Becky Lynch, Bobby Lashley, Seth Rollins, Damian Priest, AJ Styles and Omos, Kevin Owens, the Street Profits, Finn Balor, Karrion Kross, Alexa Bliss, Carmella, and Gable Steveson. That's your Monday Night Raw roster. SmackDown keeps the Universal Champion Roman Reigns, Charlotte Flair, Drew McIntyre, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss, Hit Row from NXT, Naomi, Jeff Hardy, or perhaps Willow, we'll have to wait and see, Aaliyah from NXT, Drew Gulak, Mace, so Mace and T-Bar are no more, Mansoor, Mustafa Ali, Tony Storm, and as of tonight, on SmackDown, the Usos, Sasha Banks, King Nakamura and Rick Boogs, Sheamus, Shayna Baszler, Xia Li from NXT, the Viking Raiders, Ricochet, Garza and Carrillo, Cesaro, Ridge Holland, and Sami Zayn. And barring any off-air moves tonight or tomorrow or for the rest of this week, I want to point out they drafted Aaliyah to SmackDown. And they left LA Knight on NXT. These people are fucking insane. And if they don't correct that tonight or tomorrow, then I don't even know what to say to that. Other than these people have no fucking idea what they're doing. You put Aaliyah on NXT. She's worthy of being moved up. LA Knight apparently has no place, at least as of tonight, has no place on Raw or SmackDown. The guy has everything that you would expect Vince McMahon to like and to want to feature on the main roster. He's not the youngest guy. He's not that old. He can talk. He can work. He's got charisma. He looks and sounds like a star. He's a guy that you can position on your roster and actually make money with him. Maybe one day he can be an even bigger star. Aaliyah on SmackDown. LA Knight not worthy of leaving NXT. Dakota Kai was not drafted. She's another one. I have to imagine that she's going to end up going. Yeah, we'll find out on Raw Talk or something that she got drafted. I can't imagine that she doesn't end up on one of the two shows because what else is there for her to do in NXT? We haven't seen her since she lost to Raquel Gonzalez. She did a few dark matches recently. My biggest fear, and I said this on Sunday. You know, some of these these tweets that Alexa Bliss, you put that one tweet up with a quote from Albert Einstein about something about energy, and shout out to Ives, who just subscribed to the channel. But she was talking about sometimes things have to take a different form or a human form or something like that. My fear is that someone like Dakota Kai, they'll look at her and go, hey, she looks like a Barbie doll come to life. We'll make her Lily in human form, and that's going to be her new gimmick and her new name when Alexa Bliss is ready to come back. She'll have Lily in the form of Dakota Kai, a human version of Lily. But despite my fears there, I don't think that you can say that she isn't ready to be called up. So I would think that she will end up on one of those two shows before this is all said and done. But that's how the rosters looked. And Nick Grasso just said that she was not drafted on Raw Talk. Dakota Kai was not drafted on Raw Talk. Now, I don't know if they're still doing moves beyond today. Tomorrow morning, we could find out there's a whole new batch of moves. I don't even think they know. I think they're just booking this shit on the fly. You think they knew a week ago what most of these moves were going to be outside of maybe the top, 3 or 4 people? They don't have any fucking idea. You think they knew a week ago that Gable Steveson was going to be drafted to Monday Night Raw? Give me a break. But as I said at the beginning of the stream, if you missed it, it's interesting that Raw took a lot of SmackDown's top male stars and kept their own. So Raw really came out of this on the better end of things because they get to keep big names like Big E and Bobby Lashley and Orton and Styles and Damian Priest, who's a star on the rise. And then they add people like Rollins and Edge and Kevin Owens. And there's one or two other people I'm not even remembering here at the moment. So they've added those people. SmackDown's got a real issue now because if they don't go with my idea and build up Jeff Hardy for a program with Roman Reigns, let's say before they do Roman and Drew, which seems like it could be the WrestleMania match, they don't have a whole lot of big baby faces they could put in there with Roman Reigns. So what are they going to do in December, in January, in February, in March, outside of Jeff Hardy? Who else is there? Like a big baby face, someone they can groom to be in that spot to challenge for the Universal title. Is Brock Lesnar going to continue to feud with Roman for the next 4 or 5 months? I don't think so. So they have a real problem now on the depth chart as far as the male roster goes at the top of the card on SmackDown. Where SmackDown seems to have been beefed up, though, is in the women's division and the tag team division. They have a lot of talent in both of those divisions now on that show. But on the men's side, they got a lot of problems. When, Ricochet is drafted, you're going to do a Roman Reigns Ricochet program? I mean, really? After the way they've booked Ricochet now for the last few years, you expect people to believe that. You expect people to buy into that. Do you remember the match that Ricochet had with Brock Lesnar? I mean, please. That's what they think of Ricochet. They got Sheamus, and Sheamus is a heel. I think he'll end up with the Intercontinental title. So they don't have a lot of really great options. Cesaro, again, somebody in the chat said Mr. Ozone. No, you can't do that. They're not doing Cesaro again. Been there, done that. That's why, same thing with Kevin Owens. He had 3 matches with Roman Reigns. What was left for him to do on SmackDown other than get beaten up by fucking Baron Corbin every week? He had to go to Raw. Let's take a look at this Twitter poll. I don't think this is going to be a very positive poll for Raw this week. Yikes. Boy, was I right. 19% thumbs up to 81% thumbs down for Raw tonight. That is an astoundingly bad, very lopsided poll. And actually, you guys in the chat are a little kinder to this show. You actually have it in the live chat poll, 28% thumbs up to 72% thumbs down. So you're actually... You guys are a little kinder to this show than everybody is being on Twitter at the moment, which I think is very interesting. I was not expecting that. But there you go. That's your Monday Night Raw recap. I don't think I could ever do one of these again. Boy, holy shit. I mean, man. Whew. That was a chore, let me tell you. I at least hope you guys were entertained by the review at least. Right, so it wasn't a total loss. It wasn't a total waste. And we still got to get to your super chats. You got questions and comments about the show tonight. I want to hear from you guys, and I appreciate everybody who supports the channel. I'm going to read everything you guys sent me here. I know, 81%. Andre can't believe it. 81% thumbs down. Oh, I can believe it. Let me open these. Let me see if I can get them on screen here this week. Here we go. Let's go to your super chats. They should be popping up. There they are. There we go. What's going on, guys? I'm despite this show tonight, I'm trying to be in a good mood because this is going to be a fun week. We got a stream coming up on Wednesday. It's almost Wednesday, everybody. Just keep remembering that we're only a certain number of hours. How many hours away are we now? It's 12:30 in the morning. All right, we're less than 48 hours away. Dynamite is almost here, and then there's Rampage on Friday. Although the Rampage numbers are not doing too well. But Dynamite is almost here. So we'll have some fun with that on Wednesday night. Here we go. Here we go. Our boy Hashway dropping $5 earlier. Says, do you think we will ever see Walter in AEW? That reminds me, that was another name that I saw floated. People thinking that Walter perhaps would be drafted to either show. Thank God he was not. Do I want to see Walter on Raw or SmackDown? Honestly, I don't. I have no faith in them utilizing Walter in the way that he should be used. And I think Walter is a smart guy. Even if Walter had a summer home here, I don't think that if I'm Walter, I want to be anywhere near Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. Where Walter should be is on the main NXT brand. He should get away from NXT UK, and he should be on the NXT proper, NXT 2.0 now, I guess it is. Give me Walter and Braun Breaker. I think that would be a very interesting match. But Hash's question is, do you think that we will ever see Walter in AEW? It's possible. I would not disqualify that as a possibility. I can't say no to that. There are certain people I feel like I could probably say no. That's not one of them. There's one of our new super chats. Holy shit, get your hands up. It's Armed Anderson, everybody. He's in a bad mood. Look at that sourpuss. Armed Anderson, please. I got my hands up. I had to get him in there as a super chat. I mean, come on. Ryan Spies with the $5. Dakota Kai has not had a televised match since TakeOver. If she isn't drafted on Raw Talk, I'm going to be kind of nervous about her spot in the company. Supratik Boxy would like to see Ricochet program with Roman, even in losing. Could be a good showcase opportunity for him. Hurt Business, though, reunited are now jobbers, getting buried in all segments. Does not feel the same. Well, that seems to be their purpose. That seems to be the only point of putting them back with Bobby, was to take a beating from Goldberg. Which is why I worry that when Crown Jewel is over, that could be it for this little Hurt Business reunion. But we still don't know where they're being drafted to. They might go undrafted. What does that say about them if they get undrafted? Or not undrafted, but if they... Well, yeah, if they go undrafted. What am I saying? I don't know what I'm saying. But anyway, yes, Ryan, I think you are right to be concerned. Oh, Jolly Burgos with the $5. Not gonna lie, I'm bummed that my favorites, Bianca, Finn, and Carmella, are on Raw now. I just can't make it 3 hours of bad TV every week. But for them, I will try. Or you can just listen to me. Because I watch every week, so you don't have to. And I will let you know, like last week, right? The review I did yesterday, I listed all the good segments. You can go back on YouTube and watch them. You don't have to sit and watch 3 hours of Raw every week. Do not subject yourself to 3 hours of Raw every week. That's my job. That's why I'm here. I have that covered for you. I will let you know if there is anything worth going out of your way to watch. Usually the answer is no. I don't want you to subject yourself to that if you don't want to. Joshua Carlos, buy or sell WWF 1992 or WWF 2000. 92 is one of my favorite years. 2000, though, was a lot of fun. So that is a tough one. Probably I'd go 2000. I mean, if we're being really objective here, 2000 was a really... You know what? Their best pay-per-view year was probably 2000. I mean, the Royal Rumble that year, Backlash, Judgment Day, Fully Loaded, I think, was one of the better shows. I mean, they had a lot of really good pay-per-views that year. And I'm hard-pressed to find another year where there were as many great pay-per-views as there were in 2000. Nick Grosso, where was Dakota Kai? Wasn't she going to be in the draft? Ridge Holland and Gable Steveson made no sense. Unless, or he says, useless draft like last year. Well, I mean, look, they're all relatively useless. It's just the reshuffling of the deck chairs. That's really what it is. You get a few big names here, a few big names there. It never really feels like much changes, right? It's all in how they use the talent. That really is the most important thing, but it's not really that big of a deal. The draft just doesn't feel all that special. They want you to get excited for it like it's a big deal, but the reality is it's just not. It's just not that big of a deal. Ojali again, Ojali Burgos with the $10 super chat. Could have had Tony and Doudrop as a tag team, and we never got a Hurt Business versus New Day match. Instead, we have a Predator in theory on Raw. Every time I think WWE makes progress, they take 20 steps back. I do not want to see Tony Storm and Doudrop as a tag team. I don't care what their backgrounds are. Doudrop, keep her away from Tony Storm. Tony Storm does not need to be in a tag team. Give me Tony Storm against Sasha Banks. Give me a Sasha Banks Tony Storm program at some point in the not too distant future on SmackDown. That could be the WrestleMania match next year for Sasha. Old Dirty Sausage with the $5 super chat. Haven't watched Raw in months, but it sounds like it was a dud. Joseph Brooks. Buy or sell on which Raw match made the loser look like a star even in defeat. Jeff Hardy against The Undertaker in 2002 or Shelton Benjamin against Shawn Michaels on Raw in 2005. Those are two great matches, two great television matches. I'm going to say Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy was fingertips away from becoming the undisputed champion. And when the match was over, you had The Undertaker, who was the champion at the time, and a heel. The heel champion paying respects to Jeff, shaking his hand, helping him back up to his feet. He put him over in a big way. I would say Jeff. Edwin Cardenas. Today is my 21st birthday. I'll be celebrating for everyone in the chat. Happy birthday to Edwin. Let's get those birthday cakes and all kinds of emojis going for Edwin. 21. That's the drinking age. That's a fun one. Joseph Brooks. Can you do your old Willow impression? Well, I already did. I did a whole bunch of them earlier in the stream, so that's my gift to you. I gave you all the Willows I got for the night. Lou Rivera. I tuned in at 10:45 thinking that Bianca was about to become the women's champion. Yikes. Glad we have these streams as the solution to watching Raw. I see what you did there. Hassan in the chat says, am I going to review Bound for Glory this year? No, I have no plans. Hey, Hash, what's going on? Hashway in the chat. Theo with the $5. Can't wait for the Karrion Kross against Edge match on Raw. Also, Rey Mysterio versus Omos. You know WWE is going to want to do that match. Of course. Of course they will. B. Vincent 86. I'm so sorry, Solomonster. We have Wednesday to look forward to. See you then. I'll be here. I will be here. Boots. Dropping $10. What's going on, Boots? Putting boots to asses. I put my boot to the ass of this show tonight. There's Sting on your screen, watching Raw. Boots says, I didn't watch Raw, but wanted to stop by and show support. I did receive the Sunday Night Sound Off shirt that I ordered on Labor Day, along with a Bret Hart and classic AEW logo shirts. They look great. Well, enjoy the shirt. And you can pick up the new 14-year anniversary shirt, too, which looks pretty badass. That's on Pro Wrestling Tees right now as well. Brand new shirt. Just went up the other day. GB, thank you for the support. We have Hikaru. I thought they said Shida. Hikaru K. She might be watching. You never know. She could be watching. Hikaru K. I'm just so sick and tired of feeling like nothing that happens in WWE ever matters and nobody ever grows beyond their basic assigned traits. It does kind of feel that way. It feels like people are just the hamster on the wheel. You know, spinning the wheel, not really moving, not really going anywhere. I mean, you could find a few people, you know, Bianca to a degree, Damian Priest. You can see the growth. But yeah, and I mean, it's a big issue. It's a very, very big issue with a lot of people on these shows. Cell Dweller Fangirl, just what I did not want. Sasha and Charlotte on the same brand again. Fuck my life. Sasha is not getting the belt off the Android. Well, I mean, if Sasha can't stay healthy, she's not going to be getting the belt at all. We still don't know why she was out and missed SummerSlam. That was a big match for her to miss. Oh, Jolly Burgos, are you excited for Tony D'Angelo tomorrow? Gabagool! Where's the Gabagool? You were supposed to make some Gabagool tonight. That's right, we're getting Tony D'Angelo. He's going to be off the docks, and he's going to be at the Performance Center making his NXT debut tomorrow night. EJ Slemp, the MLB playoffs start tomorrow. Who is your World Series pick, and why is it the White Sox? They are going all the way this year. Well, I mean, I'm a New York guy. I guess I got to go with the Yankees now. The Yankees go all the way. Jacob Dearmore. Can Raw ever go back to 2 hours? It's been about a decade and it is exhausting. Also, have you seen the original Black Christmas? Happy early birthday. I have not seen Black Christmas. And Raw is not going back to 2 hours. You say ever. I mean, ever is a long time. So, if they were to ever leave USA Network, I believe that they probably would go back to 2 hours. USA wants it at 3 hours. It is not going to go back to 2 hours. It's literally coming up on a decade. If it hasn't happened by now, so long as they're on USA, it ain't going to change. Joshua Carlos. Arn's Glock against New Jack's surgical scalpel. I don't want no part of either one of those. Mr. E, 1976. Here's to the tip jar. Thanks for all you do, Solomonster, and happy birthday to you on Wednesday. Thank you, Mr. E. Appreciate that. John Falchetta. How much do you think the Yankees-Red Sox playoff game will bury NXT? Thank you for watching Raw so that we don't have to. Oh, it's gonna bury it, all right. There's gonna be a burial. There's gonna be a burial, all right. I mean, come on, it's Yankees and Red Sox. Quintus Brown, why LA Knight wasn't drafted? He doesn't belong in NXT anymore. Well, because they apparently need him to do more jobs. They need him to lose more. A-Rod 0513 with the $5 super chat. Happy early birthday, Solomonster. Hope it's a great one. How excited are you that the new Halloween movie is coming out? Best wishes and cheers. I'm very excited. We are now T-minus 2 weeks away from Halloween Kills. Zangsu102, new submission for Big Bob, the Bobopedic. The Bobopedic, yeah. I bought a Bobopedic, actually. I bought well, not a Bobopedic, but my bed is from Bob's Discount Furniture because the bed that I had before from Sleepy's was killing my back. And it was one of these old, these older mattresses. And I was told, you want to do like a memory foam hybrid, and I did. And I still have the fucking thing where you just kind of sink. It's like, it won't stay flat. And I feel like I'm laying in a hole and it just kills my back. I lost 30 pounds last year, so it can't be that. I'm not that big. But I kind of sink. I can't find the right bed. I heard about those purple mattresses, but I don't know about that. I don't know about those purple beds. Naif Alsafar, thank you for the $5, Naif. It's good to hear from you, my friend. Steven Chappa, some October blessings to the best podcaster in the game. That's very kind of you, Steven. EJ Slemp. Remember a decade ago, Kevin Owens and Tozawa were a great tag team in PWG. Yeah, there was a time he was awesome. I can't believe he's the same guy. Yeah, Tozawa is a stereotype. That's what he is. That's what happens in WWE. I mean, the Lucha House Party, for God's sakes, coming out with a fucking piñata. This company they love their stereotypes. Especially ethnic stereotypes. You expected a guy like Tozawa to be put on the main roster and get a serious push? Are you out of your mind? Xia Li will be lucky if she gets any kind of serious push. The only reason that she might is because apparently they wanted a Chinese-born star on their roster. So they might actually make an effort with Xia Li. If there's anybody else, please. I can only imagine what they would be doing with her on TV. Here's Lily the doll. Get away from me here. Here we go. Snorehawk, 64. OMG, will Sheamus finally get the IC? I do believe he will. I think he'll be the one to take it from Nakamura. That's what I would do. I would have him be the one to take the championship away from him. Get a nice run with the IC. He's deserving of it. After the year that he's had and the work that he's put in on Monday Night Raw, the unsung hero of Monday Night Raw, all the quality matches he's had, you know what? He deserves it. He deserves a nice run with the Intercontinental title. I hope he gets it. Cody Moore was at the show tonight, was devastated they didn't do anything with Kevin Owens. Why do they continue to waste him? Part of it could be that they think he's going to leave. If he's not re-signing his contract, or a new contract, then they're not going to do anything with him. But even before this, it's not like they were doing much with him even 3 or 4 months ago. So I don't have a good answer for you. I think he's one of those guys they take for granted. He falls in the cracks. And now that he's supposedly coming up on the expiration of his deal, if he's not going to sign a new one, then they're certainly not going to do anything with him. You watch him tonight. He looks dead on the inside, like he doesn't want to be there. And I don't even think he hates the company. I don't think he hates it. I just think he hates that they have nothing for him to do. And he just looks like he is mentally ready to check out. And I don't blame the guy. How can you blame him? There's no way that he could be happy with the role that he is in right now in WWE. No way can he be happy in the position that he is in. There is not a chance that he is happy. So, to me, it's only a matter of time. Run out the clock and get the hell out of there. Believe me, Kevin Owens will not have a problem finding work. And we all know where he's going to find work if he becomes a free agent. It's not really that hard to read between the lines about where he's going to end up going. Jamin John what was Brock Lesnar's time in New Japan like? In Nakamura's words, Lesnar, he didn't really respect the promotion. Yeah, I didn't get the sense that Lesnar really took it seriously. I mean, he had just come out of WWE and it was something for him to do and get paid until he figured out what it is that he really wanted to do. Whether it was trying out for football and then getting into UFC. He didn't seem to have much of a passion for wrestling in Japan. Probably the travel as much as anything. I'm kind of shocked he even went over there in the first place. Devin from New Jersey, 2000, buy or sell? Many Saints of Newark or El Camino? Oh boy, you know, that's a good one. El Camino was also kind of disappointing. I would say the Many Saints of Newark. I probably enjoyed that more than the Breaking Bad movie. James Hollins, who's more dangerous, Goldberg or Arn Anderson? Oh, Arn, by far. How could you even ask a question like that? Armed Anderson. He's not a guy to fuck with. EJ Slamp, Sunberg fears Hook. The Mount Vernon kid, the Alpha, sent a $5 super chat. I guarantee Ridge Holland is going to be paired with Sami Zayn. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Jamin John, if Muhammad Hassan too smart of a character for wrestling television? Is he too smart of a character? Well, I mean, at the time, for a while there, I guess maybe you can say that, but by that last segment that got him basically excommunicated from the company, there was nothing smart about it. It went against everything that character had really been built on. You know, he's an Arab American, and you're discriminating against me, and I've done nothing wrong, and by the end there, they basically had him sending people dressed as terrorists to the ring. They were pretty overt about the whole thing. So they had a kind of a layered character that was kind of interesting, and then by the end, as they always do, they turned to stereotypes. It bit them on the ass, and this guy was out of a job through no fault of his own. He did nothing wrong. He probably would have gone to SummerSlam that year and become World Heavyweight Champion and beaten Batista. And through no fault of his own, just doing his job, doing what he was told, doing what he was booked to do, he got fucked. And that was the end of his career. It's really sad what happened to him. Cameron Spencer. Sometimes wrestling can be so bad that it's funny. What was funnier, Finger Poke of Doom or Rollins Wyatt Hell in a Cell? There was nothing funny about Rollins and Wyatt Hell in a Cell. That's number one. Number two, there was nothing funny about the Finger Poke of Doom either. It was just kind of dumb. I mean, I agree. Sometimes things are so funny they're bad. I'm trying to think of what would fall into that category, but I wouldn't put either of those into the funny category. I didn't find either one of those humorous in the least. Slam and Sammy Bearcat Joe with a $2 super chat. All the women tag teams except the champions broke up. Well, I mean, what about Tegan and Shotzi? Are they still together? Did something happen off the air tonight that I'm not aware of? They should still be together on SmackDown, right? Zay Rouse just subscribed to the channel with the Oscar double thumbs up. Welcome to the channel. T.S. Genki. The idea of Roman and Ricochet is sadly hilarious, isn't it? It's just fucking comical is what it is. Hulkling 93. A Charlotte-Bianca match falls short again. If NXT meant anything to WWE, Bianca would have called back to when Charlotte Pillmanized her leg a year ago. You know, I completely forgot about that. I mean, that just goes to show you the impact of some of these angles they do. I completely forgot about that. I didn't think they had any interaction at all. It's like nothing matters, nothing registers on this show. Things are forgotten about, things aren't always called back upon. It's pretty bad. Powerful one. I could see them having Drew beat Roman at WrestleMania to keep that feud running for a while, because after Drew and Jeff, who else is there? There's no one. That's the whole point. That's what I'm saying. There's no one. Unless a heel turns, there's no one. They actually made SmackDown weaker, which is what I kind of feared they would do. I wonder how Fox feels about that. Paul Heyman. Clearly, it looks like they're slowly building Keith Lee for a title match eventually with Big E, and hopefully he wins the belt gracefully and happily. Can't believe you just made me read that. Thank you, Paul Heyman. Salistar Productions. Love the show, buy or sell. Whose career suffered more, Damian Sandow or Baron Corbin losing the Money in the Bank cash-in? Well, Damian Sandow's out of a job, and Baron Corbin has been here for years, so you tell me. Who got hurt more? I'm going to say Damian Sandow. Roger Rubio, thank you, Solo, for everything. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Orlando Dow, just dropping by. Hey, Orlando, thank you for the $4.99. Samoan Fan 101. I'd rather watch Battlefield Earth than watch Raw. Boy, Battlefield Earth. You talk about a fucking movie. My God. Why did Forrest Whitaker have anything to do with that movie? So now I'm being told that did they split up Tegan Nox and Shotzi Blackheart? Unbelievable. Hey Samuel, what are you on about in the chat? I have no idea what you're talking about. Why don't you be specific instead of being very vague? I have no fucking idea what you're talking about. Are you just trolling? Like what do you... I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm literally reading everyone's super chats right now. I have no idea what you're talking about. Slam and Sammy Bearcat Joe with the $2 super chat. Them introducing Goldberg as the icon threw me. Yeah, that was new. That was new. Hearing them refer to Goldberg as the icon. I don't think I've heard them refer to him that way before. Let's see here. Samoan Fan 101. Will you review Halloween Kills later this month? That is the plan. The plan is to do a review for Halloween Kills like I did for the Many Saints of Newark. So that is what I am aiming to do in a few weeks. Theo, Roman against Shane McMahon at WrestleMania in Dallas. Do not put that evil on me. Do not even suggest such a thing. Yipster16. Hi, Solo. Wish you a very happy birthday. Hope you have a good one. It appears Elias is still MIA. He went undrafted. Any idea if that means anything? Yeah, you know, they had the vignettes, the new Elias, and it looks like the new Elias has gone the way of New Coke. Never even showed up on TV. Never even had a chance. We were going to see the new Elias, the new and improved. I guess he really was dead after all when he was walking through the graveyard and they had that tombstone that said Elias. Here lies Elias, 2017 to 2021. Roka Will 23 says they split up Tegan and Shotzi. Well, there you go. And there you see what Seth Rollins thinks of that move as he vomits all over the super chats there. Robert Kaplinger, how strong are you? I'm pretty strong. I sat through Raw tonight. I have to be strong. Corona Boy. Yeah, I noticed you, Corona Boy. You think I don't see you? Corona Boy? What a name. Nick Grasso sent a $5 super chat. Thank you, Nick. WWE thought about breaking the Street Profits in the draft. What a bad move that would have been. That's what I said a week ago on the podcast. I said, watch. They had Montez Ford against Roman Reigns one-on-one on SmackDown last week. And it felt like maybe they were testing the waters for maybe Montez going single. The one person who should be thankful that didn't happen is Angelo Dawkins, because he would have been dead in the water if they would have done that. So he should be very happy that they kept the Street Profits together. Tuxedo T Servo just popping in. See you on Wednesday. I'll be here. As always, Wednesday night, I'll be here. And Curtis Talley just dropped a $9.99 super chat. No message, just showing some love. Thank you, Curtis. Now we are all caught up. See, as promised, we are all caught up on all of your super chats. There's Curtis's Russo on a pole. Chris Manson, one of our Sound Off channel members for 6 months. Sound Off legend. Do you have legs? He says. Do I have legs? What am I, Professor X? Yes, I have legs. Why wouldn't I have legs? Is there some sort of accident that I'm unaware of that I was involved in? Samoan Fan 101, Goldberg beats Reigns at WrestleMania 38. No, he doesn't. Dr. NXT Scorpio, rest in peace, Women's Tag Team Division 2019 to 2021. There was no Women's Tag Team Division to speak of in the first place. How are you going to eulogize something that never even really existed? They had a handful of makeshift teams. Even Tegan and Shotzi, they weren't a team in NXT. They weren't a team. It was Shotzi and Ember Moon. And all of a sudden, they moved to the main roster, and it was Tegan and Shotzi. It's like 1 week Demolition has Randy Cully, and the next week they have Barry Darsow. They just replace one with the other. There was never any real women's tag team division. There was never any division. So you can say rest in peace all you want to. It never existed in the first place. It was stillborn from day one. That's the reality of the situation. V. Joe says, we only see you from the shoulders up, so therefore I have no well, then I guess I have no legs. Well, there you go. I have no torso. I have no, well, that implies, though, that I don't have, well, you know. I most definitely do. Yeah, that's right. V. Joe says that current champions aren't a team. And Dr. NXT Scorpio makes a very good point. Tegan and Shotzi never even got their title. They never even got their title shot. What a fucking joke. How many wins on television did they get over Natty and Tamina? And they never even got one opportunity to challenge for the women's tag team titles. Unreal. You know what? They should have left those belts with the Jumping Bomb Angels in the 80s where they belonged. That's exactly where they should have been left. And I told you from day one, you know, Sasha and Bayley and all the women were lobbying so hard for it. And it's sad because when they won them at the Elimination Chamber show that year, they were very emotional. It clearly meant something to them. It clearly meant a lot to them. But I said, this is not ever going to be something that is given priority, and it never was. I was right. I was proven right. A lot of people were proven right. Those titles should have been left with the Jumping Bomb Angels in the 80s where they belong. Because this is not a company that gives much of a priority to, honestly, a lot of the stuff they do with the women anyway, let alone women's tag team titles. Come on. You can't honestly have believed that they were going to be taking that division seriously. But let me see here, because people are talking about moves that were made. I want to see, maybe they're listed out here. If there were more moves made, indeed there were. So let's see here. So we got some news updates. Here's a news update for you from Mike Johnson of PWInsider.com. The original plan for this past Friday's draft was that the number one draft pick for Raw was to have been Bobby Lashley, with the idea that viewers would have to see where Big E, the WWE champion, would land on Monday, especially after the remainder of New Day was drafted to SmackDown. That cliffhanger was dropped over the course of the day this past Friday, with Big E replacing Lashley as Raw's top draft pick. Lashley was instead drafted on Raw tonight. Now, I understand the cliffhanger aspect of that idea, but it made more sense to draft Big E. Why would Raw not draft their WWE champion? So that would have been kind of dumb. Anyway, he says there was also serious consideration into breaking up the Street Profits, with the idea of Montez Ford moving to Raw with Bianca Belair and Angelo Dawkins remaining on SmackDown. That talk lessened over the course of last week, and instead T-Bar and Mace ended up split because Vince McMahon had to split a tag team. So if he was talked out of splitting up the Street Profits, he's got all this pent-up energy. I've got to break up a team. I've got to break up a team. Okay, we'll break up Mace and T-Bar. We'll break up Tegan and Shotzi. He's got to break something up, right? He's got to break something. I told you there was a very good chance that they would break up the Street Profits. And now we know that they came very close to seriously breaking up the Street Profits. Unbelievable. Now let's see the moves here. We got more news. We're breaking some news here on the stream. Here we go. So Peacock had Raw Talk tonight as soon as Monday Night Raw went off the air. And as I said, there were additional draft picks. So let me, for those who don't know, read what the picks were. Raw, Monday Night Raw, drafted Liv Morgan, Dolph Ziggler, and Bobby Roode. Big Bob is now on Raw. Mia Yim. How about that? There's a name we haven't heard in a while. Mia Yim is on Raw with Keith Lee, so there's another couple they kept together. Tamina, Cedric Alexander, and Shelton Benjamin, so the Hurt Business kept together on the same brand. That's good. Tegan Knox, Dana Brooke, Jackson Riker, and Veer. So Veer remains on Raw. Now, wait a minute. Hold on a second here. So Tamina is on Raw, but I don't see Natty's name on here. So now we go to SmackDown. These are the SmackDown picks. Shotzi Blackheart, so Tegan and Shotzi are no more. And there's Natalya. So they split up Tamina and Natalya as well. They basically dismantled the women's tag team. What was left of the women's tag team division is what they did. They blew it up and just completely obliterated it. Jinder Mahal follows Drew McIntyre over to SmackDown. So they split up Drew McIntyre, or they split up Jinder Mahal, Shanky, and Veer. Jinder and Shanky are on SmackDown. Veer is on Raw. And there you go. Those were the additional moves tonight. So there was no mention of Dakota Kai. There was no mention of LA Knight. And the women's tag team division is, in fact, dead. Which begs the question, what is the point of even having women's tag team titles in the first place? There is no point. There is no point. Again, I don't mean to pick on the poor girl, but when I see that someone like Aaliyah has been drafted to SmackDown and LA Knight has not, I am left wondering what the mental malfunction is with the people who make these decisions in this company. It's flabbergasting to me. Fucking stupid is what it is. But it's remarkable. So anyway, there you go, guys. Those are all the draft moves that we know of. There may be more yet to come. But that is what we know so far. Dr. NXT Scorpio says Veer is about to get a big push into catering. He'll be a victim to Bearcat Lee on TV in the next few weeks. You watch. You watch. You watch. Keith Lee is going to give his BBC to Veer. It is going to happen. Put Mia in the Hurt Business. Not necessary. They are more likely to push Veer than Ricochet, which boggles the mind, says Murphs in the chat. Doesn't boggle the mind at all. Look at Ricochet and look at Veer. Veer's got some size to him. He looks physically bigger than Ricochet. He's going to get more opportunities to succeed. It's not really all that shocking. If you know anything about WWE, it should be pretty obvious. Well, we do a little something here called, Samoan Fan. With the very appropriate super chat. Daniel Bryan saying, there is nothing about Monday Night Raw that is fun. That was a shoot from Daniel Bryan. But Samoan Fan says NXT women's tag title should have never been made. Sadly, that is true. It is time for a little something we call Be the Booker, where I try to do a better job of booking matches than WWE. In this case, it is the WrestleMania main event. We are going to randomly book a match here and see what main event I come up with. Hoping I have some luck here tonight. We want to end on a happy note. So we have to try to book a good one here. I'll bet we book a better match than anything we saw on TV tonight. I'll guarantee you that. Well, let's see. Let us see here. Be the Booker. Let's give this thing a whirl and see what we come up with. We end up with Kofi Kingston, former WWE champion Kofi Kingston. And who will Kofi Kingston be challenging in the WrestleMania main event? I don't know. Let's find out. Kofi's opponent is going to be Bret the Hitman Hart. Oh, I can't hate on this. How can I hate on this? You put Bret against anybody. Bret against anybody in the WrestleMania main event. He can make it a classic. And Kofi Kingston is no slouch. We know what Kofi can do in the ring. That's a hell of a match, actually. Kofi Kingston against Bret the Hitman Hart in the WrestleMania main event. I'm not going to hit the fail buzzer on that one. That one could be something. I like that. Hey, everyone's down with that, right? Santiago is down with that. Want to do one more? Should we do one more? We have 2 nights of WrestleMania now, right? So we have to do one more. Got 2 nights of WrestleMania. You got to book 2 main events. Let's do one more. Let's do one more and see what we come up with. We got Bubba Ray. Oh, see, I should have quit while I was ahead. Now I just fucked it all up. Bubba Ray Dudley. And who will Bubba's opponent be on night 2 of WrestleMania? Bubba Ray Dudley against John Cena. Basically, Bully Ray. What do you guys think of that? Bully Ray against John Cena. You know, when he came back to WWE, I thought the Bully Ray character had potential, and Bully Ray against John Cena was a program that I saw in the future as one I think that could have been actually pretty good. And WWE didn't want to go with Bully Ray. So we never got it. I'm not going to hate on that either. I actually don't think, I think there was the potential for that to actually be a pretty good match. So, anyway. There you go. No fail buzzer tonight. I think that you could have made something out of those 2 matches there. Not bad. I see, that's right. Not bad. Stephen Lewis in the chat says not bad. I've done worse. Trust me. I have done much worse when it comes to these Be the Booker segments. EJ. Look at that. Cameron Grimes. EJ says Disney made a movie about Veer called $1 Million Arm with John Hamm. It's actually really good. I recommend it. Yeah, I was talking about Veer and his baseball background on the podcast this week, in fact. Played minor league baseball for the Pittsburgh Pirates. First Indian-born man to play professional baseball. Frost757, happy early birthday. Also, I think you skipped my earlier super chat. Well, which one was it? Let me know what it was and I'll read it. Thunder Knight. I would like to see a Tegan Nox, Becky Lynch feud if Nox can remain healthy. Well, that's the key. Can she stay healthy and her knees not explode? She's had about 3 or 4 torn ACLs in her life. That's a lot. I mean, that's not good. And to her credit, she's worked herself back each time. Can she stay healthy as a single star? Right? Can she stay healthy? We don't know. Dr. NXT Scorpio. Switch the opponents and we get John Cena against Bret Hart. That's true. We can't do that, though. That's not how Be the Booker works. You can't just switch. You can't just switch like that. Let me see if I could find... Frost claims there was a chat that I skipped over. So now you're going to make me go back here and look for this here. Let me see if I could find this. Let's see here. Samoan fan wants to know, when was your first Be the Booker segment? You guys, you've got to tell me. You just got to go back and look at my Dynamite streams. It was many, many months ago when I started using the Zinfamous HD tweet. I couldn't tell you which one it was. You guys are going to have to look that up yourself. Let's see. Frost. I don't see it here, Frost. Frosty Frost. I don't see it. Let me see here. Did you lie to me, Frost? Maybe it didn't go through. I'm coming back through the list here. I do not see Frost. Let me see here. This is riveting, by the way. Me looking through this list is absolutely just riveting. I'm sure for everybody who's watching this. Yeah, it was not on the... It was not on the list. I don't see it. Didn't show up. But I saw that one. So happy birthday. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. All right. So we are all caught up. I think I got you guys informed about all the draft moves. I made it very clear what I thought of the show tonight. I didn't think the show was any good. But anyway, vote in the Twitter poll at Solomonster. It's not looking too good for WWE. Ouch. I mean, look at that. What more needs to be said? What more needs to be said than that? I mean, my God. I can't remember the last time one of these polls were that lopsided. It's been a while. Although I haven't been doing the Raw polls. I stopped doing the Raw polls a while ago. So, anyway. By the way, if DHV... Yeah, you got to understand something here. Let me make one thing clear, because there could be some confusion here. I'm reading the Super Chats from the Super Chats list. And I'm trying to read some of the regular chats as well. But I'm one guy here. I can't see every chat that you guys put in the regular chat. Channel members, some of your messages will come up and they'll be colored, like green or a certain color, depending on how long you've been a member for. That will show up in the regular chat. That's not a Super Chat. That's coming up in a different list that I'm not looking at. So it's not that I'm skipping those. Those are not being read. I can't see all of those. There's no way I could possibly keep up with those. And those are not archived for me in a separate list. So that might be where some of the confusion is coming from. So that's different. The members, your messages in some cases are being highlighted. But that's separate from the Super Chat. So just to clear that up. Those don't come up on this other list with the regular Super Chats that I'm reading from. But anyway, speaking of members, I am recording the next Q&A in the morning, actually. So probably at some point tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow evening, the members-only Q&A is going to be up. I got a lot of questions, like 50 questions from you guys. So I'm going to make sure I get all that done tomorrow. I'm going to be starting to work on some other stuff as well. I actually want to start working on the next RSPW Rewind. You thought that was done. No. There is going to be a new RSPW Rewind as well. And I have to start preparing for 725, actually, too, this weekend. So a lot of work to be done. Thank you for all your support tonight. This was a rare live Raw stream. I don't know when or if I'll be doing another one of these. But it was fun to hang out with you guys here on a rare Monday night. I'm going to be back with you on Wednesday for the big Dynamite 2-year anniversary stream. It's going to be a combo anniversary birthday stream on Wednesday night. Come celebrate with me. Then live again on Friday night for Rampage and episode 725 coming up next Sunday. Dark Side of the Ring this week is on Johnny K9, Bruiser Bedlam. I'll have a review for the next episode of that as well. That'll be later in the week. And please do consider picking up, well, there's the Many Saints of Newark slide. That's the, you can check that review on the channel. But also pick up the 14-year anniversary shirt if you want. That is up on ProWrestlingTees.com. All right, guys. I'm out of here. Have yourselves a good Tuesday morning. I'm going to try to get some sleep here. And I will be back with you on Wednesday night. Going to be a big stream. Until then, take care, guys.